When we picture lawyers, we usually think of those intense courtroom dramas, right? Someone fighting tooth and nail to win for their client. But what you might not see is the strict, binding code of conduct working behind the scenes. It's not just a friendly suggestion, it's the official rule book for the entire game.
So let's start with a really common assumption. You hire a lawyer to be in your corner, to fight for you. So it kind of seems obvious that their number one job, their first and most important duty, is to you, the client, right?
Well, actually, wrong. And this is probably the biggest misconception about how lawyering works. An attorney's primary, their paramount duty, isn't to the person paying the bills. It's to the court and to the integrity of the justice system itself. And this isn't just some nice-sounding idea. It has a name, the paramount duty. It means that, first and foremost, a lawyer is an officer of the court. Every other responsibility, including the one they have to their client, has to take a back seat to that. This duty is, and this is the key, what holds the entire legal system together.
Okay, so what does this actually look like day to day? Well, for starters, it means an attorney can never, ever mislead a judge. In fact, it goes even further. If they find a past case, a precedent that actually hurts their own argument, they are ethically required to bring it to the court's attention. They also can't tutor a witness. Now, they can help them prepare, but they can't tell them what to say or coach them to make up a story.
So while the duty to the court is number one, it's not the only one. Really, an attorney's professional life is a constant balancing act between three main areas of duty. So let's unpack the others.
And here it is, the one we're all familiar with, the duty to the client. This is the heart of the job, right? A lawyer has to be loyal and dedicated to their client's interests. But you see that crucial little note there? It's only as long as it's legal. And, this is the big one, it doesn't clash with that higher duty to the court.
Now, this duty to the client breaks down into some key parts. Competence is huge. It just means you shouldn't take on a case you're not equipped to handle. Communication is a must. They have to keep you in the loop. No conflicts of interest. That's a biggie. You can't represent two opposing sides. But the one that causes the most headaches? That would be financial integrity.
And this leads to an absolutely fundamental rule. Any money you give a lawyer that isn't for their fees, say a deposit on a house, cannot, under any circumstances, go into their business bank account. It has to be held in a completely separate, protected trust account. Mixing that money up is one of the worst things a lawyer can do, and apparently it's the number one reason they get into disciplinary trouble.
So, the third and final arena is the duty to the profession itself. Look, the justice system is designed to be adversarial, but for it to work at all, there has to be a baseline of respect and professionalism between lawyers. You can think of it like sportsmanship. You play hard, but you play by the rules of engagement.
And this means a few things. If one lawyer gives another a formal promise called an undertaking, it is considered absolutely sacred. Breaking it is a massive deal. It also means you can't just try and steal a client from another lawyer, and it gets to the spirit of the law too. You're not supposed to use tricky, obscure technicalities just to block progress or mess with a colleague.
So, what happens when these duties crash into each other? This quote really is the golden rule that clears it all up. If your client wants you to lie to win, you've got a choice to make. And the answer is crystal clear. Your duty to the court, to the truth, has to win. Every single time. You either get your client to tell the truth, or you walk away from the case.
But the rules aren't just about actions. They're also about character. The Code of Conduct insists that attorneys have to embody certain traits. You can think of these as the 4 pillars that hold up the whole profession's reputation.
So, first up is integrity. That means being honest, not just in the office, but in your personal life as well. Then there's independence, which is about giving the objective advice your client needs to hear, not just the stuff they want to hear. Dignity is all about upholding the profession's good name, basically not acting in a way that makes people lose trust in lawyers. And finally, social responsibility, which often means doing pro bono or free legal work to help make sure everyone can get access to justice.
So, with all these rules and pillars, you've got to have a referee, right? Someone to blow the whistle when a lawyer steps out of line. Well, in South Africa, that's the Legal Practice Council, or the LPC. They're the official watchdog for the whole profession.
And the LPC has a very clear playbook. When a complaint comes in either from a client or another lawyer, they investigate. If it seems legit, they'll hold a formal disciplinary hearing. And from there, they can hand out penalties, anything from a fine to a suspension from practicing law.
But the ultimate penalty, the big one, is being struck off the roll. And that is a professional death sentence. It means your name is literally removed from the list of attorneys, and you can never,
ever practice law in South Africa again. It's the system's way of saying you can no longer be trusted.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot of rules for lawyers, but why should this matter to the rest of us? Well, this isn't just some internal rulebook for a private club. It actually has a huge impact on all of us and our trust in the justice system.
So what should you really take away from all this? First, know that a lawyer's ultimate loyalty is to justice itself, not just to winning at any cost. Second, your money should be totally safe in their hands because of that trust account rule. Third, if you ever do have a problem with a lawyer's conduct, you have a clear path to report it through the LPC. And finally, remember that all of these rules exist to protect the integrity of the whole system for everyone.
When you step back, you see this entire legal framework is built on those pillars of duty and character. It all depends on professionals choosing integrity when it counts. Which kind of leaves us with one last really important question. What happens to our trust in justice when even one of those pillars begins to crack?